Today we're going to try Martha Stewart's beef pot roast frozen meal. This frozen meal is 9 ounces and it was $6.98, but not for me. That's the only reason I'm making this review is because this, along with some other Martha Stewart stuff, was on clearance. Now I'm not sure if they're getting rid of them altogether or if maybe it's just Walmart's getting rid of them altogether, or if there was some other reason that my specific Walmart was trying to get rid of the Martha Stewart stuff, but it was all marked down. Not a ton. I still paid $4 for this instead of $7, but that $4 seems like a reasonable price. There's something about all these Martha Stewart meals. They came out last year, and as somebody who reviews frozen food all the time, I was like, I'm gonna buy, a couple of these and see what they're like, blah blah blah. Martha Stewart is cool as far as I'm concerned. She's cool. I'm glad that she's doing her own thing now. I love it when she's with Snoop Dogg. She's good at hosting things. She's great. Great person as far as I know, based on her presentation, But the prices on these meals were just insane. All of them were super expensive. This was one of the cheaper ones. If I'm going to pay, it's just not going to happen. There's just no way I'm going to pay $7 for a single frozen meal that's 9 ounces. And there was other things too. There was other like casserole, there was like family size casserole dishes, but they weren't really family size. They're like more like 2 people size, but they were like $12 and stuff like that. There was desserts. Everything was overpriced. Now they're now $4, that's in line, even though it's still pretty expensive for a frozen meal, especially one that's this small and something that's beef pot roast. It's not like it's a specialty. Pot roast is done all the time. There is interesting things in here. There's olives, dates, and oranges. That's not your typical like pot roast accoutrement, but still the prices were just insane. I got it for $4. That's the only reason I'm here. I'm gonna review it and I want to let everybody know if Martha Stewart is worth the money in general, but I can tell you off the bat I'm biased because there's no way I would pay $7. So let's pop this meal in the microwave. We're gonna do microwave instructions here. Aluminum tray is microwave safe. Remove tray from carton, puncture 2 slits in the top of the film, place tray directly in the center of microwave. Cook on high for 2 minutes 45 seconds, peel back and stir, recover and heat for an additional 45 seconds. So not too long. 2:45 and then 45, so you're looking at only like 3.5 minutes to get everything. Now I'm curious to see what I actually get in here, because according to this picture, I don't know if that's supposed to be a potato or something else. It says olives, dates, and oranges. That's definitely not any of those 3. And those look like carrots to me. Those look like carrots and potatoes. And then on the back it says tender beef roast and root vegetables seasoned with the flavors of the Mediterranean. So is there actually going to be potatoes in here or not? And then it says the tip from Martha is to serve with mashed or boiled potatoes or couscous. So is there potatoes in here, Martha? That's the question. I don't really know if this box is misleading or if it's just confusing. Look at this. Interesting packaging. It is actually a metal tray, so I'll give you that. That's something that I don't normally see for a microwavable meal. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't really... Olives, dates, and oranges. Are those oranges or carrots? I don't know. I'm very confused. I don't actually know what a date looks like. I thought it was like a kind of grapey. Am I wrong? I'll have to look up what dates look like. Do dates look like potatoes? I've never had a date. Well, here's our pot roast. I can't exactly tip it too much because it's a little soupy. It's not quite as thick as I was hoping. I realized while it was cooking that I could just look at the ingredients on the box, and it turns out these are actually parsnips. It's parsnips and carrots along with the dates, olives, and oranges. Dates are in fact grapey, so I figured that part out. There's only a couple in here though. Those dates, grapes, and olives, there's not many in here. It's more parsnips and carrots. The chunks of beef are pretty substantial though, and they look like they're pretty good quality. So maybe that's where the money's going. Also, this tray is very interesting. I'm holding it with my hand right here. It's warm, but it's not too hot, even though it was in the microwave for a long time. So there's some kind of technology at work here where the metal tray, even though it was in the microwave for, 4 minutes, actually like 4.5 minutes. I had to cook it longer than it said by like 45 seconds. It's not hot, so that's an interesting technology bit. So let's see, I'm going to try to get some olives, some parsnips, some carrots, some meat. I'm going to try to get the, whatever you want to call it. It's not a trifecta, it's a everything fecta. Although these parsnips don't really seem as cooked as I would like. This is harder than it looks. To get a piece of everything is becoming quite an adventure right now. Oh, there we go. Okay. Here we go. And I dropped some. I think I see the idea that Martha Stewart, I don't know if she specifically was involved really, but whatever, the frozen food team was going for with this meal. I appreciate the parsnips. I do appreciate the beef is actually good quality in big chunks. Now, in terms of the dates and the oranges and the olives, there was no dates in here as far as I could tell. I think it was all olives, and I didn't see any orange. I don't know if they meant orange zest or orange flavor, but there's no orange, and I don't believe I had a date. I think it was all olives, and mostly parsnips, which is fine. I like parsnips, and I think it's it's an inspired choice for a beef pot roast frozen meal because it's different, and that's what I want to say. Really about this meal that I appreciate is that it's different from what you'd expect from a frozen pot roast meal or like a homemade pot roast meal. I assume most people, at least in the US, as far as I know, this is an inference. I don't know if this is 100% true, but in my experience, I think most people, when they make pot roast at home, it's a potatoes, carrots kind of thing. It's not parsnips, it's not dates, it's not olives. It's always, it's meat and potatoes, carrots, maybe you put in something else, but not parsnips for sure, and not dates, and not olives. Olives is a weird choice, but it does kind of work. So I appreciate what they're trying to do here. It's kind of like they're trying to elevate the frozen meal to be something a little more special, or maybe it could possibly be British. I think they use more parsnips than we do, but who knows. But it just feels like they're trying to take the pot roast concept and kind of elevate it a little bit in the frozen field, which I think is a fine idea. I don't think the execution is really there though. With the parsnips, they were definitely, and the carrots, they were 100% undercooked, and it's not something I could solve by microwaving the meal more, because then I'd just screw it up. They would have to be really, I'd have to microwave this meal for 15 minutes before they'd get to the right softness that I would prefer. They were hard. I don't think anybody really likes that. Maybe some people do, but the parsnips and the carrots were still crunchy, which I just don't like, and that's a factory thing. They needed to cook them longer as far as I'm concerned. The beef was tender and good. I have no complaints about the beef. It's probably the best frozen beef I've maybe ever had in terms of the quality of the meat. The sauce itself, it kind of lacks a little flavor. It's a little bit bland, which is weird, but it kind of fits in a way. I tasted the olives. I didn't taste any dates. I don't really taste orange necessarily. Maybe it's in the sauce. Maybe there's some kind of orange zest in there, but I can't tell. I don't really taste that. All I taste is olives, which is an interesting, kind of thing. And there is a kind of weird sweetness to the sauce. Maybe that's the orange. But overall, it works, but it's not executed to the quality level that it should be, especially for the price. I think even if this was executed right, even if the parsnips and the carrots were cooked right, and the sauce was a little bit more flavorful, it would be a great, I think then it would be a great alternative to the cheaper meals, but still not, $7 alternative. If it was executed perfectly, it would definitely be good at $5 as compared to a beef pot roast meal from some other company. I'm pretty sure Marie Callender's has one. Maybe Boston Market has one. There's definitely other pot roast meals you can get that I have gotten before that are more traditional, and they're pretty good. And honestly, most times I would prefer that, because that's what I'm looking for the pot roast is meat and potatoes and carrots. That's what I'm craving if I'm going for beef pot roast. But I think that this is a nice idea for somebody who maybe wants to have a little more elevated of a frozen food experience, but it's just not there. It's just not as good as it should be, considering that they're trying to use premium ingredients. And I also really am kind of upset now that I think about it, that there's no dates in here. I feel like that was their thing on the front of the box. They were like, hey, it's got dates, it's got oranges, it's got olives, it's fancy, or fancier than other frozen food, but it didn't have dates in it. There was none there. It's let's say it's 60% parsnips and carrots, 30% meat, and maybe 10% olives, and no dates. That's the meal. It's not exactly in a ratio that it should be, and having there be no dates in there really screwed me up after I was looking them up specifically. I was like, what do dates look like? I'm pretty sure they're like grapes, but I don't know. And then I saw it and I was like, oh, okay, I'm good, but there's none in here. So, in the end, it didn't matter. So that's our meal I forgot the name. Sorry, Martha. That's our Martha Stewart beef pot roast meal, frozen meal. I would not suggest it. I guess I gotta give it a score. If at the price of $7, I would give it a 1. There's no chance. You don't buy this for $7, please. You're just gonna waste your money. Even if for some reason you really like this meal at $7, you're still screwing yourself over. Unless you're rich, go ahead, then throw your money away. If you're watching this and you're rich, just go ahead. You know, if money's not an object, do what you want to do. But I think for most people, $7 for this frozen meal is just insane. As it is, for the price I paid, the $4 I paid, I would give it a solid 3. Because, yeah, like I said, I do think it is a good meal. I think it's a good idea. I just don't think they execute it as good as they should have. And I wouldn't buy another one for $4. If they somehow go lower clearance, like $2, I'll definitely buy a few. But they're just not really worth it. Even at the $4 price, you can get other frozen meals that are going to be better. So that's Marie Callender's beef pot roast. Sorry, Martha. I'm sorry. I just said Marie Callender's. That's Martha Stewart's beef pot roast. I'm sorry. And I will see you next time.